The street should have been loud. Oakhaven's main road, once lined with white clapboard homes and elm trees, sat frozen beneath a gray sky, swallowed by weeds that cracked the pavement like veins. A rusted bicycle lay tipped against a lamppost. Curtains still hung in windows, bleached by decades of sun. A child's voice drifted softly over the scene, thin and lilting, almost playful. Whispering willows, bend and bow. Keep what the moon won't allow. The song echoed where no one stood. In August of 1957, the town of Oakhaven vanished. Not one person was found. No bodies, no blood, no sign of struggle. Dinner plates sat half set on tables. Cars remained parked, doors unlocked. Laundry hung stiff on clotheslines, abandoned mid-task. 217 people, men, women, children, gone as if erased. Newspapers called it impossible. Federal investigators called it unsolvable. Locals called it cursed. But those who grew up near Oakhaven whispered something else entirely. They said the town had been singing its own ending for generations. The rhyme was called Whispering Willows, taught to children before they could read, hummed while skipping rope, murmured at bedtime. To outsiders it sounded harmless, old, folksy, easily forgotten, until someone noticed the words. When the moon turns blood and the well runs dry, then the children sleep and the adults sigh. For decades it meant nothing, until Oakhaven disappeared exactly as the rhyme foretold. And the question that still haunts those empty streets is not what happened to Oakhaven, but whether the town ever had a choice at all. No one knew where Whispering Willows came from. According to county records, the rhyme existed in Oakhaven as early as the 1880s, scribbled in the margins of church songbooks and handwritten school primers. It never appeared in neighboring towns. It was not regional folklore. It belonged to Oakhaven alone. Eleanor Price, a folklorist who studied Appalachian oral traditions, once described it as a rhyme with bones in it. She interviewed former residents who had moved away before 1957. Every one of them knew the words. None remembered learning it. It was just there, one woman said, like breathing. The rhyme spoke of watching trees, of counting nights, of wells that whispered secrets when the water fell too low. Most unsettling was how calmly it described endings. No fire, no scream, no violence, just sleep. Hush now, hush when the counting's done. No need to run when the time has come. In the spring of 1957, small things began to go wrong. The well behind the Miller farmhouse, one of the oldest in town, began to drop. By May, it was nearly dry. Farmers blamed drought, though rainfall charts showed nothing unusual. In June, residents reported an odd stillness at night. Crickets stopped singing. Dogs refused to leave porches. Children woke crying from the same dream. Trees bending low, brushing rooftops like listening ears. Adults felt tired, bone-tired. Entire households began going to bed earlier, lights extinguished before sunset. Doctors found no illness. Then, on July 28th, several residents gathered outside just after dusk. The moon hung low and swollen on the horizon, and for the first time in living memory, it glowed red. The red moon should have ended the song. In Whispering Willows, it always did. When the moon turns blood and the well runs dry, those were the final warnings, the last markers before the rhyme fell quiet. But in Oakhaven, the events didn't stop. They accelerated. Witnesses in nearby towns later described a strange haze drifting toward Oakhaven, thick and silver, clinging low to the ground. One truck driver said his radio cut to static the moment he crossed the county line. Another swore he heard singing through the fog, childlike, distant, layered. Inside Oakhaven, the silence deepened. Church bells failed to ring on Sunday morning. The school never opened its doors. A mail carrier found envelopes piled high inside unlocked homes, addressed but unsent. The final confirmed sighting came from Clara Whitfield, who lived 3 miles outside town limits. On the night of August 2nd, she looked down from her porch and saw every light in Oakhaven turn on at once. Then, one by one, they went dark. Investigators later mapped the timeline and found something unsettling. Each event, dry well, red moon, mass fatigue, silence, matched the rhyme's verses in order. Not metaphorically, precisely, as if someone had followed instructions written long before memory. By the time state police arrived 2 days later, Oakhaven was already decaying. Food spoiled in pantries. Clocks stopped at different hours, as though time itself had fractured. And in every child's bedroom, investigators found the same thing: a handwritten copy of Whispering Willows, folded neatly beneath pillows. Authorities searched for logic. They tested water. They dug up wells. They brought in psychologists, cult experts, even Cold War strategists who wondered if Oakhaven had been the victim of some classified experiment. Nothing fit. There were no signs of forced evacuation, no footprints leading away, no mass grave. Even the forest surrounding the town showed no broken branches, no disturbed earth, as though no one had passed through at all. That's when a darker theory surfaced. What if Whispering Willows wasn't a warning? What if it was a blueprint? Some researchers believe the rhyme functioned as a slow, psychological conditioning tool, repeated generation after generation, until its imagery embedded itself deep within the subconscious. A trigger, waiting for the right conditions. Others argue something else entirely wrote the rhyme, something that understood timing, human behavior, sleep. A retired linguist once noted that the cadence of the rhyme matched patterns used in hypnotic induction. Gentle repetition, predictable rhythms, reassuring finality. No doors to lock, no tears to cry. The willows watch as we pass by. Surviving relatives still visit Oakhaven, though many can't explain why. They stand in empty houses that once belonged to grandparents they barely remember, overwhelmed by grief for people they never met. What hurts most, one man said, is that it feels like they left on purpose. If they did, they took the reason with them. Decades later, Oakhaven remains untouched. The state sealed it off, but fences rot, signs fade. Nature creeps inward, reclaiming what humanity abandoned without explanation. At night, wind pushes through the willow trees at the town's edge, their branches dragging softly across one another. Locals swear they can still hear singing. Recordings made by urban explorers capture faint humming when no one is present. Audio analysts find no source. Children passing nearby sometimes finish verses they've never been taught. The rhyme refuses to die. Sleep now soft, the work is through. The town remembers, even if you don't. Every attempt to trace its origin ends the same way. Missing records, burned archives, vanished journals, as if the story resists being told too clearly. Perhaps that's the point. Perhaps Whispering Willows wasn't meant to explain what happened, but to ensure it could happen again. Because if a song could guide an entire town into silence once, who's to say it hasn't already begun somewhere else? Today, drone footage drifts over Oakhaven's rooftops, past classrooms frozen in time and porches still waiting for footsteps. The rhyme plays once more, no longer innocent, no longer safe. Was it fate, an ancient warning misunderstood? Was it folklore, a coincidence too perfect to dismiss? Or was Whispering Willows a deliberate plan, written patiently, sung softly, and carried out without resistance? The town never answered, but the rhyme is still being sung. If this story unsettled you, share it, because forgotten stories are the ones most likely to repeat themselves. Leave a comment with your theory. Was Oakhaven claimed by destiny or by something that knew exactly how to wait? Follow Lanes and Lanterns for more stories where fate, timing, and the unseen collide.